All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Sorry, people are still trying to come in. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with here. Any questions through it, raise your hand, unmute. There's not a ton of us in here, so as long as we're not all talking or type a question in the chat. I got you guys on like 3 different screens, so I'm all over the place looking at your stuff. But yeah, today, anybody that doesn't know me that's on here, I'm Stephen Brock with Family Mortgage. I'll get into that a little bit more, but today we're gonna go over some simple tactics on things to do to actually increase your production, to kind of build database that'll keep producing for you as long as you're nurturing it. We all have been in this sales kind of business for a while that we know that's what we have to be doing at all times. And these are just some tactics to help you out with that. So like I said, I'm Stephen Brock, Family Mortgage. My background, I was in the Army 9 years. I was a Army recruiter for the last 3 years of that. I have built, in the mortgage world, built my business solely on referrals, 100% referral business. And just kind of tactics I'm going to teach you guys with that too. I mean, we all want to be referral business and not do just buying leads and things like that. We always know that that warm introduction helps us out a lot more than trying to buy a lead from Zillow or wherever it might be. That's my team. If you guys haven't met them before, you will one day. Great team. Eventually, you're going to get to enough production where you're going to start having team members. So having these things, tactics, kind of dialed in will help you a lot, that you can also have other team members actually helping you with it in the future. So kind of setting the expectations of, sorry, I thought somebody else was trying to come in. The last couple of years, in the real estate world, we have been very fortunate with the market of how it was going. Is you basically could just walk around with a basket, dragging it around in like an apple orchard, and being able to get the whole basket full kind of thing. Now the market is that you basically might have to climb up to that tree and actually get the apple, walk around, and actually pick those apples from there and nurture those trees. It wasn't like that a couple of years ago for us. Even 6-7 months ago, we were able to just produce very, very easily. And we kind of got spoiled on it. A lot of us kind of stopped doing the things that we should be doing at all times. All right, so I use this as, if you had a pill and we came up to you and said, okay, this pill cures cancer, no matter what type of cancer it is, it's going to cure it. It'll basically wipe out cancer from everybody. What would you actually do with that pill, kind of thing? They wanted, nobody else would be able to get cancer. Anybody that has cancer, they're not going to have it anymore. So I always say that, okay, our first batch of things that we would be doing is we would, basically go anywhere that we could and hand up on the tabletops, yelling it to the world that you have the cancer pill, kind of thing. You're going to give it to your family, friends, go to kids' hospitals, whatever it might be to do it. That's what you would do. You would not stop until basically it was done. I know that if I had it, I wouldn't sleep at night, well enough to know that I didn't talk to enough people with it. I would feel guilty with that kind of thing, but I want everybody to know that I had this pill. And that's the kind of mentality that we need now in this market. Is a lot of people forget what you do very easily. So you have to always be out there. You got to be passionate about your job. You got to know your job. You got to be the expert, but you got to be a passion with it. If you don't know your why, you need to find out what is your why. That's the biggest thing out there. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
Perfect. So how do you do 11 deals of personal production? Does that sound great to everybody right now? Like if you could do 11 deals, this is per month, not the year, per month. If you could actually do that, that's what you would set you apart from everybody else. And here's some of the tactics to do it. It's like, the first thing is to start building up your database. If you're new in the area, it's a little harder, but you're going to go out there and start networking, go into chamber events or whatever it might be. But you need to start focusing on grabbing 400 people, having them in a database that would, I call it the grocery store test, is if you saw them in the grocery store, they would know who you are, you know who they are, and they would talk to you. And so that's also keeping it local. I know, you can refer business out throughout the country and still get paid on it, but you're trying to focus on those 400 individuals that are local to you with it. Like I said, if you don't know anybody, go through your phone, social media. You're very old school, break out the Rolodex. You should have these people down on a list of who you like, who knows you well enough that you could, partner up with and talk to all the time. These are the people that with the 400, why we're picking this kind of number with it, size of easy number to calculate is, so the National the National Realtor Association says that in 5 to 7 years, I say it's more like 5 years here, but maybe even 3 to 4 years, everybody moves. That one person's going to move, even if it's local, out of state, whatever, they're going to move. So if we just take the 7 to be conservative, 7 goes into 100 about 15 times, so it's about 15% of the 400. That's 60 people that are going to move within that year of that 400, just them. So that's 5 per month that you can get from them. So that's what you need. That's why it's focusing on that database of building it up there and trying to get as many people on that list that you can actually nurture. So if you got paper, pencil, write these down. I can also send you guys all this stuff afterwards. What we're going to actually do, what is the plan to actually start once you got that list built, and while you're building it, to start working on them, what you can do with it, okay? Your first one is your evidence of success. This is some kind of message that you're a successful realtor, that they know you're the expert in there. If you don't always have one, I always say, hey, go out there and talk to some of the people in your not your branch, in your office, and what are some things that they have done that they'll let you put out there. Okay, if you're putting this out there every single month, this is going to be great. If you're mailing it, even better. You can do videos on it. Videos are free, so do a video on it that you're going to send to your database once a month on there. You want this to be something that you're the expert into it. Okay, sending just listed or you're just sold cards, that this is not that. This is not farming a neighborhood. This is more nurturing and keeping in touch with the other side of your database. Farming a neighborhood, they're not in your database yet per se. You're trying to get them into there. But this is a little bit different than just that. That makes sense? Like your message, Chris. Oh, kind of cut off right there. But second is going to be a letter of the heart. This is something that you have to be real with. This is where you're connecting with your clientele, your database on who you are. Be authentic to it. If you're funny, be funny. If you're serious, be serious. This isn't you putting out your podcast or something business related. This is more what's happening in your life. What is going on with you personally, with your family, in just you as a human being is what you're trying to do. You're trying to be connected with them on a human level instead of just like, oh, I'm just that realtor. We know people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So this is one way of doing it. Client parties, having client parties are great. Happy hours. I put the pumpkin patch in there because I know like fall's coming up, so it's something we can pair on. You can just give them a gift card to go get a pumpkin. But doing happy hours is great, especially if you know other business people that are out there and you're trying to get them to mingle. You can do a happy hour where it's maybe 10, 15 people. You say, hey, I'm going to buy your first drink. So you, worst case in it, $100, but it's more of the power of the invite that matters. So having these parties and connecting other people is what's really going to help you. Even if they never come to any of your happy hours, the fact that you invite people to it is really what kind of connects with them, because you're thinking of them outside of just work-wise kind of thing. Anniversary calls, if you see their wedding anniversary, the anniversary when they bought the house with you, put it on your calendar to remind you. I know we always put it in like our CRMs and then we forget about it, and then the next thing we know, it's already gone. Put it in your calendar. Birthday calls, same thing, on your calendar. Call the person. I called somebody before on with it in the afternoon, and they said, hey, you're the first person to call me. We all send the cards and text messages and emails. Actually pick up the phone and call them. I think Robert was in my class last week that, if you pour about singing, it's probably the best time to sing on there, because it's going to make the biggest and impactful part of it. The next thing is a letter of the week. So a lot of real estate offices preach this, so it's always a good one to do. Is your first week, you're calling everybody with the last name A. Second week, B's. This is so you're going to hit those people at least once or twice a year that you're having a purpose call on them. Some people do 2 letters a week. That's where you're going to hit them 4 times. But if you're doing the birthday calls, the anniversary calls, you're doing the inviting to happy hours every quarter, you're going to be talking to them almost every month, one way or another, with a purpose of the call kind of thing. So if you were doing all of these things with your clients out there, your prospects, whatever you want to call them, with your database, if you're doing all of that, always pouring into them, they're knowing about you, the evidence of success, the letter of the heart, making that personal connection, they're going to use you all the time. That you're going to be the person they want to go to because you built that trust. Now, it's going to take time, of course. You can't send one letter of the heart and expect business to come right back, kind of thing. It takes steps of doing it. So it's several months of doing this, but if your intention is to keep doing it and over and over and over again, that's what's going to help build your stuff up. The only time, of course, it doesn't work is, let's say, they say my father, my spouse, my wife, husband, they get their license. Of course, they're going to probably go through that person. So that's when you're usually going to take them off the list. People that are on the list doesn't mean they're permanently on the list. People are going to come and go with that. So like I said, out of those 400, 60 of them, if you're conservative, will move within the next year. So again, it's 5 people a month. And I know, and this is not them referring you anyway. This is just them moving themselves. So the next thing I always talk about is, all right, so where are you going to get these people? What are you going to do today? Where are you going to find it? And we always say that it's lead generating and prospecting. That's a 30,000 foot level that we're always doing that. Your main job should be 15 to 1, 15 great phone calls and 1 warm lead a day. That's what you should be trying to strive for every single day, is 15 great phone calls and 1 warm. And I say that because it seems hard to some people, but if I told you I was giving you just on this $200,000, if you can bring me back 1 warm lead, would you find a way to do it? Most people are going to say yes. They will find that way to do it. All right, some people are trying to join real quick. So you have to focus on trying to find that business. We always get carried away with the updating our CRM or updating the contractor, doing this. We do a lot of busy work, but we don't actually focus on the prospecting side of it all the time. So make sure that that's your goal of the day, is always focusing on trying to get that 1 warm lead, talking to 15 people and having great phone calls with them. Okay. So let's just say you're getting 20 warm leads in a month with it. Most average conversion with warm leads and introduction leads, referrals, is about 30%. So that's another 6 deals. That's not including, per month. That's not including with your 400 list. So that's where you're really going to try to get them to the 11 with it. So how do we get these warm leads? What's the real magic of it? How do we actually get them, when we're doing these calls? What is an actual great phone call to count it kind of thing? Me calling somebody up and saying, hey, how are you? That's short, quick, and nothing happens with it. That's not a great phone call. Talking to 15 people is not necessarily, it might take you 20, 30 people to talk to actually get to 15, and then how many dials you do could be even more, just to get them on the phone. So what considered an excellent call, a great phone call? One is enhancing the relationship. So you're either doing part of your letter of the heart with them, you're doing what we call forward or frog. That's where you're going after, they're talking about their family, the occupational, recreational, their dreams or goals, frog or forward with it. Anything that you can do, ask questions on things that they're bringing up, keep the conversation going. So you're diving more into a relationship with that person. Give a lead. We all know people that, we always say, okay, we all use my lender, use my title company, but we never really say, hey, here's my CPA, here's my financial advisor you should talk to, here's my whatever it might be that's outside of our industry. We never usually refer those people out as much as we should. If somebody's struggling with something and you hear it, if you can fix the problem, that's where you're golden at. So if you can give a lead to somebody, whatever it might be for them. If your CPA needs somebody, that you can send them to somebody, does a great connection for you. Because one, the person you gave over, your CPA is doing a great job, they're going to be inclined to give you business back. If you do something nice for somebody, subconsciously, they want to do something nice back to you. And what do we all need? We need more leads. So how can they help you out? Getting you more leads. So that's what you need to kind of focus on with it. If you get a lead on one of your phone calls, that's considered a great phone call. You set an appointment. If you set up I always say if you invite them to an event and they say, hey, they're going to come, that counts as setting up an appointment. If a coffee meeting, a lunch, whatever the case may be, if you're setting up an appointment with them, that's considered as a great phone call. Again, how we were just talking about it. If you find a need that they have, if you're able to fill that need, that's a great phone call. The hardest one for all of us is to actually ask for business, directly asking for business. You need to be able to, if you're giving them honor, depending on where you are with them in the relationship on asking for business, is you need to focus on, like I say, setting a timer. So I always say, okay, do you know any family, friends, or coworkers that might be, that this might benefit, that might have any questions on mortgage, that are looking to refinance, buy, or sell? Those are things that you can ask. You kind of find your own pitch with it. It's going to change, and you're going to start doing it and then kind of change it around because it's going to, it's not how you are. And so I always say I'm not very big on here's a script and this is exactly what you have to say every time but you have your own script on how you are going to say things, how you feel comfortable saying it. You have to be comfortable with doing it. It's not going to be comfortable when you first do it. But if you don't ask for business, it's a no if you don't ask, and it might be a no, it might be a yes with it. If you are asking, be more specific about it. Hey, I'm looking for a buyer or a seller. Hey, I don't do rentals. If you do rentals, fine. Hey, I'm looking for, buyer, seller, or rental. Anybody that needs help with it. If you're in commercial or not commercial, like you need to be specific of what you're looking for. And then you want to, the biggest fault is we always have people say, hey, I gave your business card to whatever person. Did they call you? Like, no, I've never heard from that person ever. You need to be able to get their name and number and get permission from the person giving you the lead to get their name and number and say, hey, I'm going to call them. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to be the one that's controlling this lead in this situation. So make sure that's what we're asking for. Depending on the relationship with the person, sometimes I talk to, you might be financial advisors and stuff like that. A lot of people will try you out on leads. If they are more of a heavier person that actually can send leads, they'll try you out on the first lead. So if you're already asking for one, maybe ask for two. Say, hey, I know the first lead you're going to send me might not be that great. So the good one you're going to send me is going to be the second one. So I'm going to have your next two leads from you. depending on how that person is, what their job is, you can actually ask for 2 with it. Any questions so far? See if anybody's in the chat. Perfect. So the overview with this is, and I can go back through all these in more detail if anybody has questions in it, but the overview is to start building up that database. Get that grocery list of people that you're going to be able to see, and like I said, to be local. The way of building that is starting to go into networking events, if you're joining the chamber, the Rotary Club, you have kids in soccer, being, or in the school, being involved with the kids' school. That's another way. Your neighbors, introducing yourself to your neighbors. If you're in a condo, that's a little bit easier than walking around the whole neighbor, but being involved in your community, that's how you're going to start building this database up with it. The 6 tactical things of once you do have that database, even if it's, I've been working on this, and this has been my goal for the rest of this in my coaching call this semester. So what we got, 4 months left of this. Yeah, 4 months basically left of this year is to get to the 400. And I'm like, oh, I can get 400 pretty quickly. I probably already have at least 200 and something that are on that list that that are local and ran into, they would know who I am. I was at like 112. So you got to keep, don't wait to get to the 400. Have what you have now and start nurturing them, and then add people to that list as you meet them. They're just going to fall in line with that part of it. So the 6 tactical things to do, and we said the evidence of success. Why are you a great realtor? Why are you great at your job? Whatever it might be that you're doing, why are you good at it? Sending that out once a month. If you can snail mail it, great. You can send out a video on it, even better with it. If you can't snail mail it, at least do the video. It's free. Send out the email, do the video, put the video, use BombBomb to put the video in the email and send that out. The letter of the heart, like we said, it's more personal, not just your business side of things, what's going on in your life. The evidence of success should be very simple to do. You could probably knock out 4 evidence of success in the next hour and have them all lined up for the rest of the year and be done and say, okay, I'm just going to send this out. I already have these tactics. Letter of the heart, a little bit harder to do, to plan out. You might have some things in your mind to do it. It might just be an introduction one you're kind of first sending out, but that's another way of starting to get that figured out and sending it out. 2 to 4 client parties per year. Get them on the calendar. We have 4 months. You should be able to do at least 1 happy hour of introducing people and getting it together. You should be able to simply plan it out, pick a brewery, pick a location. It shouldn't cost you more than 100, maybe 200, depending on how many people you're really going to go have. But say, hey, I'm going to have your first drink. It's on me. Maybe some light appetizers, and that's it. And then let people, introduce each other, meet them, networking. I mean, you're making it more of a networking thing. But it's easier to start with your past clients if you have some, because you already know what they're already doing, kind of thing. If you have any VIPs, COIs, that's who the people you want to come into those parties. Again, anniversary calls, get them on your calendar. Birthday calls on your calendar so you remember to call them. Letter of the week, we know that just going down your list once you're talking to them, like I said, that's you have that on there to be more of, if you're going through it and you have people that that you haven't talked to when you're from the events, from the letter of the heart, the evidence of success, or whatever it may be, that whatever that week letter is, make sure you're calling them. Put a list of there, the A's, the B's, the C's, and each week you go through, you're going to at least purposely call them twice a year. If you have their birthday, now you're at 3. If you sold them a house or anything, now 4. Because you just keep touching these people and having a relationship with them, where some of this is kind of awkward for people at first of doing it, but then as you get used to doing it, that's when you start building the relationships more and more. And they're going to be genuine relationships. These aren't people that you are just targeting because of high net worth or they have sold with you before. You have to like these people. And as long as you like them, and as I said before, as long as somebody else is not licensed directly next to them, like their spouse or father or whatever, then they have a chance that they're going to be selling with you or know somebody to sell with you, kind of thing. Our number one job is to get a warm lead every single working day out there, making the 15 great phone calls to get there, using 2 or 3 of the tactics on the call where we were going over if we are talking, inviting them, giving out advice or fixing a need, finding a need, fixing a need. If it's, I got them all written down here, so I don't have to guess them out for you guys. Specifically asking for business, giving them a lead or getting a lead from them, setting an appointment, whether it was coffee or whatever it might be. We just went over that part of the basics, just these 6 things, and talking to 5 people a day or 15 people a day will start producing more and more relationships for you, start producing referrals for you. I know some people love buying leads and working them. This isn't to take you away from that completely. It's okay to do that. But remember, like eventually you want to be referral business only. I know some people buy leads to start their business to get it set up, but this will help you kind of push into taking those to be referrals. We know online leads is, if you're great at it, is maybe a 1% conversion. If you are horrible at converting, a warm lead is still about 20% conversion. So you still have a huge upside on getting a warm lead and actually converting it. Conversion doesn't mean they're going to go somewhere else. They might have thought about buying and now it wasn't the time. They thought about selling, but maybe something changed. So they might not always just not go with you. It's just they didn't convert for whatever reason with it. So some more ways of when you're doing new relationship follow-up is having strategic, and this doesn't have to be the exact plan. This doesn't have to be, if you're not going to send, this is something that you do with somebody, that whatever you put on here to do it is you're going to actually do it. So if you're not going to send them a book, don't put it on there. So you're going to have a 10-week plan of your follow-up once you meet somebody. Is it send them a book and a note, call them about it, kind of thing, the next week. Email, like this is some of the stuff that I do, emailing, coaching, time management, just different things. So as long as you have these, what you're planning out, what you will actually do should be on the list. You can have different categories of this list of, hey, they are, people always say I have my A VIPs or COIs, my B COIs, and my C COIs. On how many people they actually refer me might be different on what I'm actually gifting. But a small gift, easy things to do. You can do what's called an all about you form, where you learn about their favorite, candies, their kids, their wife, their husband, their spouse, their favorite movies, and that's stuff that you can gift on. Very easy to send somebody. Sending a chocolate bar right now might not be the smartest thing, might melt completely, but just little gifts that you can do. If you're following them on Facebook, you should have anybody that's in your database on your Facebook or your Instagram. So it's not stalking, it's just doing research, but you can see what life events are going in and be able to call them, hey, I saw Johnny was playing baseball and won, whatever kind of thing, talk to him about it. I always say if you connect with people's kids or talk about their kids or help their kids in some way, that's going to go way further than you just helping them out. I'll send it to you, Robert. Anybody have any other questions? Take yourself on mute or put it in the chat. That's all I have for you guys today.
I appreciate it. Very good information.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else?
Check your chat. There's some people chatting in there.
Never sent an Omaha steak, but I'll take it. You guys can send that to me.
Man, let me tell you, if you're trying to build some referrals, you send them a box of some Omaha steaks, they're going to become your best friend. Dude. Talk about helping the kids.
What if
That's
they're
a
vegetarian?
great gift. Well, that's why you got to fill out that card and ask them what their
Exactly.
likes are.
Exactly. That is a good one. It doesn't have to be expensive, guys. You don't have to do, when you start learning more about them personally, it doesn't, just little things can be it. Sending somebody flowers for their birthday, for when they're sick, that goes a long way. You just gotta make sure you send it to the right address, or make sure they're in town. I've had that mistake. I know she's on here
And
somewhere.
don't send them to my wife.
I'll send them to your wife and say they're from you, so that's a win-win then.
That's a great idea.
That's the way to make it work. Any other questions? All right, thank you guys. I think I have everybody's email in here. If not, put your email in here. I'll send you guys the slideshow so you have it. I'll send everybody the All About You form, one that you can actually fill out if I haven't had yours filled out before, and then one that you guys can take and make it your own. You'll put it in Google Docs, whatever it might be. But it's a great way to get people's some of the things they like, so you can start, doing little gifting things for you.
Yeah, I was wondering if you can customize it. So that's great, because you sent me one and I filled it out and I thought that was pretty cool. I was going to ask you about how I send that. So it looks like through Google Docs you can do that.
I made one on Google Docs, and I think I have like a copy of one that I can send. That's just an empty one that I can send to you guys, and then you can be able to just make your own copy in Google, Google Docs, and then have yourself as the only owner of it, so then you can send it out, kind of thing.
Sounds great.
All right, so that is it. I will hopefully see you all guys. Let me save your stuff real quick here, Joseph. Just in case. I think I already have it, but. All right, thanks for everybody for coming, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a great day. Thanks.
All right, you too. Bye.